Welcome back, everyone. Today we're going to share some pretty unsettling stories. These are real accounts, shared by people who worked in food delivery.
Yeah, the kind of jobs so many of us interact with almost daily, right?
Exactly. And these stories, well, they reveal some unexpected dangers that can hide in these seemingly ordinary jobs. We're aiming to tell them in a way that's gripping, maybe a little unnerving, just like the sources describe them.
And it's important to remember, these accounts come directly from the people involved. It gives us a really raw look at what they went through.
Okay, so let's get into this first one. This story comes from someone who started doing deliveries when they were just 16 for their parents' restaurant.
Right, so probably felt pretty familiar with the area, the routine.
Yeah, exactly. They'd been doing it a few months, felt comfortable. But then one Thursday evening, maybe around 8 p.m., they get this order. And it's unusual, really far out, like 25 minutes away, right on the edge of town.
Okay, so already outside the usual zone.
Definitely. And even driving out there, they could tell it was getting remote. After about 10 minutes, it was just, farmhouses really far apart. The source says they weren't exactly scared yet, but definitely uncomfortable being that far out alone.
That feeling of isolation started to creep in.
Totally. And then the directions, they lead him off the main road onto this long, unpaved path, going straight towards one single farmhouse.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And that's when the source admits they started to get properly freaked out, remote farmhouse, getting dark. It just felt wrong.
That makes sense. Turning off the known road onto someone's private, unpaved track, you're cut off.
Right. So he drives down this path, and it just sort of ends in a small grass field right in front of the house. Wasn't even sure where to park, really, so just pulled onto the grass.
Okay.
Gets out, and it's just silent, eerily quiet. The only light on is the porch light. No other lights inside the house at all.
Not welcoming.
Not at all. The uncomfortable feeling just ramps up. He says he kept looking over his shoulder as he walked towards the porch. Quick steps.
And then something happens.
Yeah. Just as he's almost reached the porch, he hears this loud sound coming from the backyard area behind the farmhouse. He described it like a wooden door opening. Loudly.
Ah, okay. That's the trigger.
Instantly. He steps onto the porch, drops the food bag, rings the bell, probably more like bangs on it, and just turns and runs. Sprints back towards the car, already regretting parking on the grass, not on the path for a quick getaway.
You can almost feel that panic, the adrenaline kicking in.
Absolutely. So he's running, hearing his own feet pounding on the grass, and then he hears other footsteps, more footsteps, running behind him, coming his way.
Oh, no.
He whips around, looks back, and there are 3 men sprinting right at him across the grass. No time to react, no time to get to the car. They tackled him almost immediately.
Just like that.
Just like that. One guy holds him down, the other 2 start grabbing everything from his pockets. Wallet, phone, keys, everything. He said he was yelling, screaming, but he knew nobody out there could possibly hear him.
That complete isolation, it's terrifying.
Yeah.
And the way they acted, so fast.
Yeah. It suggests they knew what they were doing, doesn't it? It happened incredibly fast. Once they had his stuff, one of them kicks him hard in the stomach. Ugh. Then they just took off. All 3 ran, jumped into a car that must have been hidden somewhere nearby, turned around right there in the field, and drove off back down that long path. He just got up, watched the headlights disappear.
And he's stranded, injured, no phone, no keys.
Nothing, just alone in the dark, in the middle of nowhere. He didn't know what else to do, so he just started walking.
Yeah.
Back towards the main road he came from.
How far did he have to walk?
He said it felt like 30 or 40 minutes, just walking in the dark along the edge of the road. And then, thankfully, unbelievably, headlights, a patrol car pulls up.
Wow.
His parents, they'd gotten worried when he didn't check in, wasn't answering his phone after being gone so long. They called the police.
Thank goodness for that. That timing is incredible.
It really is. And the police investigation turned up something, well, even more chilling. They checked out the farmhouse, went around back, found a small barn, and inside the barn, another delivery bag. From a different restaurant?
No way.
Yeah. The police suspected this wasn't the first time these guys had tried this exact thing. Maybe a previous attempt failed, or maybe they'd done it before successfully. The actual homeowners confirmed out of town. No connection at all.
So they were luring delivery drivers out there.
Seems like it. They tracked his phone, found it tossed in a nearby field. But his car, the one they stole, it wasn't found for 3 weeks, nearly 400 miles away. Completely emptied out, wiped clean.
And the attackers.
Still unidentified. This was nearly a year after the incident, according to the source, just vanished. It's a really cold story.
Wow. That detail about the second bag,
Yeah.
it just adds this layer of calculation of planning.
Yeah.
It wasn't random. They were targeting drivers in these vulnerable, isolated spots. Really chilling.
Okay, let's move on to the second story. This one's from a college student. He delivered for Pizza Hut. Describes it as, a pretty standard delivery job.
Right, the kind of job lots of students do.
Yeah, he said it could be fun sometimes working with friends, usually busy until about 7 or 8 p.m., then things would slow down. They stopped taking delivery orders at 11 p.m.
That sounds typical, the late night slowdown.
Exactly, so it's a Saturday night, generally a bit busier, but after 9:30, things had quieted down. And then at 10:50 p.m., just 10 minutes before they stopped taking orders, the phone rings.
Cutting it close.
Right. He answers it. Silence at first, just light breathing on the line. Then finally, a woman speaks. But the source says her voice was really quiet and kind of shaky. She orders just one small pepperoni pizza.
Okay, that sounds a bit strange already. Quiet, shaky.
Yeah, the driver thought so too. He said something immediately felt off, the way she spoke. His gut instinct was telling him something wasn't right. So just before she hangs up, he asks her, are you okay?
Good instinct.
She just replies, just fine, and hangs up. Quick. Despite the weird feeling, he puts the order in, it's his job, and heads out.
That gut feeling, though, even before getting there, drivers probably develop a sense for these things.
I think you're right, and the house wasn't far, just a couple of blocks. So he gets there really quickly, pulls into the driveway, parks, and he notices this, heavy light coming from around the side of the garage. That's where the front door was.
A light, like an outdoor light.
He wasn't sure at first. He gets the pizza ready, glances back at the house, and he sees the light source seems to be, blinking, going in and out, as if someone was walking back and forth, pacing, right in front of it.
Okay, that's definitely adding to the weirdness. Visual unease now.
Totally. So he gets out, walks around the corner of the garage towards the front door, and sees the light is actually coming from inside the house, shining out through the front door, which was standing wide open.
The door was open late at night.
Wide open. He steps onto the porch, and before he even gets right to the doorway, he hears footsteps rushing downstairs inside the house, fast. Then this man appears in the open doorway. Tall guy, heavy set, bald. But what really struck the driver was his condition. He was totally out of breath, taking huge gulping breaths, sweating a lot, and his face, he looked angry, frustrated, the driver showing up was the last thing he wanted.
Whoa. That's a huge contrast to the shaky woman on the phone.
Exactly. The driver's trying to make sense of it. He asks, is this order correct? Because clearly this wasn't the person he spoke to. He tells him the total price. The man, still catching his breath, just says, hold on, I need my wallet, and turns, walks down a hallway inside the house.
Leaving the driver waiting at the open door.
Right, and while he's standing there waiting, this is where it gets even stranger, according to the source. He hears a sound from upstairs. A quiet, dull thump, like something heavy hitting a wall, maybe.
A thump?
Yeah. Then he hears it again just a few seconds later, but louder this time. And right after that second thump, the man comes rushing back down the hallway.
Rushing back.
Yeah. Doesn't say much, just grabs the pizza box right out of the driver's hands, throws some cash at him, and ended up being a bit over the amount needed, and then just slams the door shut. Right in his face.
Wow. Okay. So, frantic energy, out of breath, sounds from upstairs, slams the door.
Right. The driver just stood there for a second, shocked. He could hear the man's footsteps rushing back up the stairs inside, then nothing else. He goes back to his car, starts driving away, but pulls over just down the road.
He couldn't shake it.
No way. That whole situation.
Yeah.
The shaky woman on the phone he was sure he spoke to, the breathless, angry man, the thumps from upstairs. He felt like something was really, really wrong in that house. He decided he had to do something. He called the police, asked for a wellness check.
Good for him. Trusting that instinct. What did the police find out?
Well, according to the driver's account, an officer called him back later. The officer said he went to the house, spoke to the man, description matched. He said there was no woman there.
No woman.
None that the officer saw. He said the man let him inside, he looked around briefly, didn't see anyone else. The man claimed he lived alone and had no idea who the woman the driver described might be. Didn't know anyone like that.
But the driver was certain.
Absolutely certain he'd spoken to a woman on the phone. And the fact the man flat out denied it, combined with everything else he saw and heard, it left him deeply uneasy. The police basically said, without any other evidence or reason, there wasn't much more they could do.
So it just ended there.
Pretty much. The driver said he still thinks about it years later. He's convinced something was wrong, that the man was lying. But there were no easy answers. It's one of those situations that just leaves you hanging, wondering.
Yeah, that unresolved feeling is strong with that one. The disconnect between the phone call and the scene at the door, those mysterious sounds. It makes you wonder if that pizza order was meant as some kind of signal, or if the driver just stumbled into something dark, a real mystery.
Okay, let's talk about our third story. This one comes from a guy named Tommy. He started doing Uber Eats deliveries after he lost his retail job.
Another example of someone turning to gig work, yeah?
He found it pretty stressful, actually. Low pay, lots of waiting around. He wasn't planning on quitting right away, but, well, this incident changed that.
It pushed him over the edge.
Definitely. So he gets an order, Chinese food. Pretty standard, small order, small payout. But almost immediately after picking up the food, he starts getting these texts through the app from the customer.
Okay, what kind of texts?
Impatient ones, like, "Where are you? Hurry up!" Tommy was confused, a bit annoyed too. He'd literally just picked up the food, he wasn't late or anything. He couldn't text back while driving, obviously, so he just ignored them.
That's odd, demanding speed when he's just started the trip.
Yeah, a little weird. The address wasn't far, maybe 10 minutes away. It was in an older neighborhood, maybe a bit run down. And as he pulls up to the house, something else strikes him as off.
What was that?
All the lights were off, the entire house was dark.
Not necessarily suspicious on its own, but combined with the impatient texts.
Exactly. It just added to a slightly uneasy feeling. So he gets out, grabs the food bag, walks up to the porch, knocks on the door. Then he takes out his phone, to snap the picture you need for proof of delivery.
Standard procedure.
Right. But just as he's lifting the phone, just as he snaps the photo, he hears this sharp voice, "Hey!" coming from his left near the corner of the house. It made him jump.
Someone was waiting outside.
Apparently, he just sort of awkwardly said hi, and this man walks towards him from the corner of the house, and he looks angry.
Angry.
Yeah, the source says he had an angry attitude. First thing he says is, "What took you so fucking long?" Even though Tommy wasn't late at all, the man walks right up close to him, then does something really unexpected. He holds up a single key and unlocks the front door of the dark house.
He had a key to this dark house. Tommy was just frozen watching this.
Totally stunned. Then the man pushes the door open, holds it, and looks at Tommy. And he says, "Come inside and help me quick," something like that. Saying Tommy took too long driving, so he needed help inside now, just holding the door open, waiting for him.
Asking him to come inside the dark house. No way.
Tommy thought the same thing. He just politely refused. Said something like, "Oh, sorry, I really need to get back to work." Trying to keep it calm.
How did the man react to that?
His whole demeanor changed. He looked furious. Took a step towards Tommy, like right up in his space, and reached out his hand as if he was going to grab him.
Oh, God.
Tommy instinctively jolted back, trying to avoid the hand. Started backing away quickly off the porch towards the driveway where his car was.
And
then, just as he's backing into the driveway space, bam! Bright headlights flash over everything. A car was pulling right into the driveway behind him.
Whoa, talk about timing.
Incredible timing. The man by the front door, he saw the car, immediately turned and ran, darted around the side of the house and disappeared, left the front door wide open.
And the car pulling in?
It was the actual homeowners, just getting back from dinner out.
The homeowners. So the guy with the key wasn't?
Nope. They had absolutely no idea who that man was or how on earth he had a key to their house.
That is terrifying. So the customer who ordered wasn't the man. The man wasn't the owner. But he had a key and was waiting in the dark, getting impatient.
Exactly. They called the police, explained the whole crazy situation, and it was only later, thinking it all through, that Tommy understood why the man was so impatient with the texts.
Why?
He must have known the homeowners were out, but could be back any minute. He needed Tommy to get there fast so he'd have enough time alone with him inside the house before they returned.
Oh my God. The key, the impatience, wanting him inside. The timing of the homeowners returning potentially saved him from who knows what.
Absolutely. Tommy still has no idea what that man actually intended to do. He quit doing deliveries right after that happened. Said he doesn't think he'll ever know the full story or what would have happened if those headlights hadn't appeared exactly when they did.
That story, the detail of the key, and the chilling logic behind the man's impatience, it really hammers home how a simple delivery can put you in such a vulnerable, potentially predatory situation. The coincidence of the homeowner's arrival is just staggering.
These stories, they're really quite something, aren't they? Genuinely unsettling because they're real experiences, people just trying to do their jobs.
They absolutely are. And they really highlight, I think, the vulnerability that comes with these kinds of jobs. going into unfamiliar places, often alone, sometimes late at night.
Yeah.
It shows how fast a normal situation or routine delivery can turn strange or disturbing or even outright dangerous. And often, like we heard, there are no clear answers left behind for the person who went through it. Just lingering questions and unease.
It definitely makes you stop and think, doesn't it? You know, how much do we really know about the places we order from or the homes people are asked to go into for these simple tasks? What kind of unknown risks might be hiding just beneath the surface, in plain sight, within the everyday jobs that keep things convenient for the rest of us? These accounts certainly give you a glimpse into that hidden vulnerability. Well, that's all the time we have for sharing these stories today. Thank you so much for joining us. If you found these accounts compelling or maybe a bit chilling, please do hit that like button, consider sharing it, and definitely subscribe to the channel Horror Docs for more stories like these. Goodbye for now.